Good afternoon, Namaste to all dear learners. I, Dr. Mahesh Singh, Professor, Plant Pathology, Department of Agricultural Science, Tirthankar Mahavir University, Muradabad, Uttar Pradesh. Welcome back to NIOS live studio program once again to you all. Dear learners, today we will discuss an important topic, that is major diseases and their insect pests and their management of maize crops. Dear learners, as you know, maize is a very staple food crops that is very important in our daily life, you can say, but it's affected by the severe insect pest as well as diseases. So that's why we will discuss some major as well as important insect pests and diseases, and what are their effect and how they can cause the severe effect on their production and productivity also. So dear learners, the learning objective of the today's session is to teach the students about the symptoms, etiology, disease cycle, identification of the insect pest, as well as the suitable management practices for that particular disease and insect pest, and how you can improve the crop production for better and assured yield. Dear learners, this is the learning objective for the today's session, and the learning outcome for the today's session is, at the end of the session you will be able to understand about the diseases, their economic loss, distribution of the diseases, the causal agent, as well as the insect pest, about the symptoms of the disease, and a favorable condition by which the spread of the disease and you can say spread of the pathogen to causing disease, as well as disease cycles, their etiology in details, and what will be the suitable management practices, you can say integrated pest management and integrated disease management practices for the major maize crops. So dear learners, this is your learning outcomes, and as you know, dear learners, maize, that is the Gia maize, is a major cereal crops belonging to the family Poaceae. It is one of the most important staple crops globally, which is serving as a primary food source for millions of the people and as a critical components of the livestock feed also. However, this cultivation is often challenged by the various diseases as well as insect pests that can significantly impact the yield as well as quality. That's why the farmers lost their estimated average value about the 20 to 40% of their whole production. These biotic stresses pose the continuous threat to maize production. That is very important to understand their management strategy also. Dear learners, the maize disease caused by so many biotic agents like bacteria, fungi, viruses, nematode, that can affect the different parts of the maize crops, like affect the cobs, stems, leaves, as well as root. Sometimes whole plant may destroy by these pests, and the disease can lead to reduce the photosynthesis process, nutrient uptake, and even the plant death also. And insect pests are another major challenges that causes the cultivation damage by the feeding of the various plant parts that transmitting the disease also, which harbor the viruses and other pathogens and which helps to cause the disease. And insect pest can hinder the maize growth, that reduce the yield also, and that's why I have given some list of important maize diseases. That is, first is grey leaf spot. In short, you can say GLS. It is a fungal disease which is caused by the Cercospora pathogens. Next is northern corn leaf blight. It is also a fungal pathogens, and rust is also there. The next is common rust, you can say, and southern corn leaf blight is also important disease of maize. And the next is maize streak of virus, and anthracnose of leaf blight, maize doff mosaic virus, diplodia ear rot, gross wilt, leaf blight, and so many diseases are causing the yield reduction in there. And the list of some common insect pests is also there. First is corn earworm. You know, corn earworm is also very important insect which cause the damage to the crops and damage to the production of the corn. And next is corn leaf aphids, fall armyworm, stalk borer, maize weevil, black cutworm. These are some common and important insect pests which is responsible to cause damage in the maize crop. And I have selected first disease, that is grey leaf spot. In short, you can say GLS of maize. And first we will discuss about the distribution of this disease. Dear learners, the distribution of this disease, you can say it is worldwide, where maize has been cultivating, and the pathogen is observed over there. And the pathogen, that is Cercospora zeamedis, is responsible to cause this disease, and it has been reported throughout the maize growing area of the world. And this disease is you can say basically you can say southern African country and Zimbabwe and India and China and so many other countries which are majority of the and you can say severity of the disease has been observed over there. And this disease is very important economically. Dear learners, the disease is more affecting the both the quality as well as quantity of the crops. And you can say at the time of the severe infection, it can lose the yield up to the 90%. You can say the importance of this disease is due to the extensive leaf damage by which the photosynthesis has been checked, and leading to the poor grain field. Sometimes the pod formation is not over there, and overall the productivity, that's why the hamper by this disease. And quality of the main crop is also reduced by the infecting of the maize crops by this disease, and grain is also affected by these pathogens. And the market price, and you can say market value of the disease due to the diseased crop is very low, and the production cost of the farmers is increased due to the additional cost for the application of the fungicide, or you can say purchasing of the resistant varieties, and another integrated pest management strategy. That's why the production cost is increased by the this application, and you can say management practices. And as you know, the pathogen is Cercospora zeamedis, which is the fungal pathogen. Dear learners, the symptoms is very common. You can identify easily in the main crop, and basically it starts with the small yellowish to tan spot on the lower surface, and basically small spots, you can say the lower leaves is affected by the pathogens. And this spots may increase with the time duration and elongated in narrow to rectangular lesions. It may be range from 2 to 4 millimeter in wide, and you can say and 2 to 6 centimeter long patches are also there. And these lesions turn to gray to tan basically, and after later stage, and the disease is spread upward and the severe infection and it can affect the upper leaves also by reducing the photosynthesis from process, and sometimes the small lesions may collapse together to cause extensive blighting over there, basically on the leaf surface, and the necrotic lesions you can also observe on the leaf surface, and the lesions can also extend the leaf sheaths as well as leaves also, and impacting on the canal development also. And we will discuss about the disease cycle. Disease cycle, you can say overwintering of the pathogens, you can say the survival of the pathogens along with the infected plant debris throughout the year. After harvest, some residues left in the field, and that affect the pathogens survive over there throughout the year, and when the favorable conditions come, the pathogens may active, and the pathogens may germinate, and when they get the suitable host, they can active, and they can penetrate the main host crop. The spore production and dispersal by the means of the conidia, the produce at the surface of the infected maize debris, and these spores are dispersed by means of the wind, and you can say rain splashes also helps to the dispersal of the pathogens, and some mechanical means are also over there by which the pathogens is spread from one place to another place also, and the favorable conditions for the spread of the pathogens is 25 to 30 degree centigrade is favor, with the relative humidity basically high up to 80% you can say, and it prefer the 80% more than that relative humidity, which is basically, and excessive if you are applying the excess nitrogenous fertilizer in your field, the pathogens may disperse severity, and the disease cause very severe in that field. And in the lesion development by germinating the conidia, and with the high wetness time, and the germ to penetrate the leaf, epidermal leaf basically. After that the pathogens colonize over there, and the secondary spread by means of multiple infection you can say, by means of the winds as well as the rain splashes also, and which is cause the secondary infection. And the favorable conditions at the time of secondary infection is basically 20 to 30 degree centigrade, which cause the extensive blighting and yield loss at that time, and that pathogens also survive throughout the year and start the next cropping season. And we will discuss about the disease management. Dear learners, the managing the disease is very important, because you have listened about the yield reduction up to 90%. That's why this disease is too much important to manage this disease. And first is the cultural practices. The cultural practices is very important to manage or minimize the pathogen load over the field. First is residues management, because dear learners, I already told you that the disease starts from the previous plant debris. That's why you have to discard after the harvesting, or you can plow the maize maize field after harvest, and you can summer plow basically. And irrigation management, overhead irrigation, you can minimize the overhead irrigation, or you can avoid the overhead irrigation for basically afternoon time is very important or crucial to disperse the pathogen. That's why you have to avoid the overhead irrigation for dispersal of the pathogen basically. And field hygiene is also important to remove and destroy the volunteer plant of the maize plants or the maize family plants. If the maize family plant is existing in nearby area or nearby the main field, that crop may harbor the pathogens throughout the year. That's why you have to remove or destroy the volunteer plants nearby your main field. And optimal planting spacing is also important to reduce the disease pathogens load, and crop rotation is also important because of the, as you know, the disease is dispersed by means of the infected soil are infected with the help of plant debris, and you can choose the alternate crops like soybean, wheat or alfalfa to reduce the inoculum level or inoculum load in the main field, and that's why you can minimize the disease load in your main field. Dear learners, resistant variety is also over there. You have to select any resistant variety as per your nearby area, or you can select any important or tolerant variety against GLS, and many modern hybrid variety is also available in the market, which is improved against this disease, resistant against this disease, and you can rotate the different resistant varieties also, because resistant variety may get resist against these pathogens. That's why you have to avoid this disease to the pathogen adaptation. The seed treatment is also one of the most, or you can say the major important practices to minimize the pathogen load, and the with the help of fungicide you can treat the seed, and the apply of the fungicide first sign of the, if the GLS is increasing in the first sign seeing in the field, you can apply the fungicide. Basically the systemic fungicide is very important to control the disease, like propiconazole is have been reported effective control for this disease. Dear learners, the second rust disease of maize is common rust disease of maize. As I told you that this is the rust of the maize. The distribution of the rust of maize is also important to know how and where this disease has been reported, because by that you can manage the disease. And dear learners, this is a very common in that area where maize has been cultivated, and basically it is prevalent in North America and corn belt states, basically South American area like Brazil and Argentina and other Siberian country, and European, Asian as well as Australian countries also. And this disease is basically more prevalent in humid climate as well as the basically where the temperature as well as the humidity is more high, and it is leading to the yield loss and impacting the food security also. And as per economically, this disease is also important because it causes the mild to the severe infection as 20 to 50% depending on the factors such as environmental condition, host susceptibility as well as the disease management practices. So it's depend on that, and it reach up to the 20 to 50%, and that's why you can see the economically it is also important disease. The reduction in the maize yield is due to the common rust that can affect the global maize market and influencing the price also. That is a very challenging to the farmers to reduce the pathogens in their field. The causal organism and symptoms, dear learners, the causal organism of this disease is Puccinia sorghai, and which is responsible to cause rust disease in maize crop. And the symptoms is very common. You can see over here in my screen, it is a very clearly seen the disease symptoms, and initially a small circular to oval shaped pustules filled with the powdery masses that is rust colored appears on the leaves, stem as well as the ground parts of the plants are there. And these pustules or lesions may vary in size and density, but often this give affected the foliage to the characteristic rusty appearance also. The dear learners, this is the very common if you will observe in the area where rust is appeared, and you can get easily identify this rusty appearance over the leaves. And at the time of the severe infection, it can lead to the distortion and reduction of the photosynthetic. Basically that area can affect the photosynthetic, and that's why the ultimately yield loss, the whole crop may reduce the vegetative growth as well as the reproductive development also. And the disease cycle about the pathogens that can the fungus survive the throughout the winter, you can say throughout the year, in the with the help of infected plant part debris left over the field by or by the nearby area. And when the favorable conditions comes, or favorable environmental conditions like spring seasons comes, and the spores that is uridino spores that produce on the overwinter's debris, that germinates easily when the favorable conditions get over there, and that spores start the infection with and that pathogens disperse by the help of wind and as well as the rain by nearby maize crop, or one plant to another plant, or one field to another field also, with the help of rain as well as with the help of wind speed. And spore may within the lesions, you can say the fungus produce masses and the rust colored appearance. Basically the rusty color means reddish brownish color uridino spores that can be easily sprayed by wind or rain nearby the plants, that initiating the new infection cycle. And that's why the secondary infection cycle may starts, and that causing the secondary infection in the existing field. And we will discuss about the disease management practices. Dear learners, the disease management practices is also important. First is the cultural practices. First, crop rotation is very important, because the pathogens start from the infected soil. That's why the rotate the crop with the help of non-host crop is also reduce the pathogens load. And residues management, you can manage the residues with the help of burning, or with the help of collecting all the infected plant debris, and you can destroy that infected plant debris before overwintering. And the pathogens, you can say optimal planting is also important, and you can say the spacing of the plant to plant and row to row is also important, because if the density of the plant is high, that's why it create the humidity over there, and that's why the minimize the or you can say the balanced type of the density of the plant is also required. And you can treat the seed with the help of selecting suitable fungicide. And biological control is also important, like bacillus or trichoderma species you can use over there. And monitoring the regular monitoring monitoring are also important, and you can apply the fungicide over there, and fungicide like propiconazole is suitable for the management of this disease. Dear learners, hope this disease has been important and you have learned about this, and we will meet a short break once again, and just wait for that. Thank you.
प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने,
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने, हम
अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो,
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े, वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े, वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
मित्रों हम उठे और जागे,
मंजिल आने की ध्वनि सुने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय का है द्वार खुला सबकी बातें।
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर।
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर दुनिया में इसके केंद्र बाटे।
कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने, स्वयं बने, हम
Dear learners, welcome back once again. Dear learners, we have already discussed about the GLS disease and the common rust of the maize crop, and under that we had discussed about the symptoms, their pathogen, their disease cycle and suitable management practices. Now we will discuss about the another important disease, that is ear rot, Fusarium ear rot of maize. The distribution is this disease has been globally distributed where the maize has been cultivating, and the disease is commonly found in so many area like North and South America area, as well as African country, European, as well as Asian country also, where the Fusarium ear rot is you can say the massive outbreak has been reported over there, and it is prevalent in the region, basically warm and humid climate is where there, and as well as it is also occur in the temperate zone also sometime. And the Fusarium ear rot cause the economically it is also very important because it losses the disease is moderate to severe form, and depending on the severity of the infection and the time of the environmental condition also for at the time of infection, and it can reduce the grain quality. Basically the Fusarium ear rot can lead to the distortion of the, and you can say the shriveled kernels are there, and the mold growth of the pathogens on the ear head, and you can reduce the marketability also, and the value of that affected maize crop is also cause the distortion. And mycotoxin is also produced by these pathogens, and you can say the Fusarium species is associated with the ear rot such as Fusarium verticilliates that can produce the mycotoxin, that is the mycotoxin is fumonin, that is responsible to cause mycotoxin. That is also another challenges, and market impact is also less of the infected grain also. And I have already discussed the pathogens caused by the Fusarium verticilliates, and the symptoms is the Fusarium ear rot of the maize is characterized by the discolored kernels typically appearing on the white, pink or light red, often starting at the ear tip. Basically the tip get affected by the pathogens, and that progressing to the downwards. Affected kernels may become the shrunken and shriveled, that leading to the reduce the kernel size as well as the weight also, sometimes filling of the grain also affected by these pathogens, and mold grain growth ranging from the white to pink as I discussed. And it is one of the most concerning aspects of the Fusarium ear rot, that production of the mycotoxin, as you know. And you can see here the symptoms on my screen. It is a very important to understand the symptoms. You can see the clearly symptoms is visible on the maize cob. Basically that starts from the basically the tip, and that disperses to the lower wards also. And the disease cycle, you know, the pathogens, that is Fusarium fungi, survive throughout the winter, and that infect the crop debris left over the field and by nearby area also. And the conidia may produce or germinate by the favorable conditions, and the moisture is there, and the favorable temperature is there, and the spores infect the maize ears through the wounds are the natural openings also, and that can initiating the disease. And the fungus colonize the maize kernels, that causing the discoloration, as you have seen in the photographs of of that, and the spore production within the infected kernel, the fungus produce the new spores which can spread the secondary infection, and that may be the help of with the help of rain splashes, with the help of air also, and the environmental factor is responsible, like warm and humid condition is favor to germination of the pathogens. And about the management practices, dear learners, the crop rotation, as you know, it is also important to reduce the pathogen load or inoculum load in the soil, and that's why the crop rotation is best practices. And the tillage is also important, basically tillage in summer season, and you can say deep plowing in summer season is also recommended for the minimizing the pathogen load, and planting the density optimal, you can say the plant density should be there, that's why the more humidity is reduced by the optimal plants density. And varietal selection is also helpful to reduce the pathogen severity, and you can treat the seed also. So, you can select the suitable fungicide for the seed treatment to reduce the pathogens load over there, and you can select the biological fungicide like trichoderma is responsible to check the fusarium growth over there, and some fungicide you can spray the fungicide to prevent the pathogens if the pathogens or disease seen are starting the symptoms over there, like tebuconazole you can use, or azoxystrobin you can also use, and post harvest you can manage the post harvest. After harvesting you can also manage, and you can dry the seed to reduce the moisture level also, to inhibit the fungal growth after storage condition. And you can store the harvested maize in a clean as well as in the dry condition also, to prevent the further contamination of the mycotoxin production also. And dear learners, now we will discuss about the some important insect pest which is responsible to cause damage in the maize crop. First is corn earworm. The corn earworm, that is Helicoverpa is responsible to cause major damage in the maize crop. It is also known as cotton bollworm or tomato fruit worm, and this is the significant that is the agricultural pest affecting the variety of the crop, particularly maize crop also. And the pest is prevalent in many regions worldwide where basically the maize has been cultivating. And about the economic importance, this disease is economically also important to cause the infection or to cause the damage over there. The corn earworm is a infestation that can lead to the substantial yield loss, and that can reduce the quality of the maize also. The damage that can cause the ear is more susceptible to secondary infection if the pathogens infect the ear head, and that's why the injury portion, the bacteria and other fungi which are responsible to cause so many diseases that can easily attack on that infected portion. And you can identify easily by means of this way. You can identify the basically the larva is vary in color, in like basically in brown to pink or sometimes yellowish in color, and the head of it typically yellowish are brown in color, and body has the tiny and sometimes black spots over there, and the eggs are very small, and the pupa are reddish brown in color, and the adult moth are basically wing spawns are about 1.2 to 1.5 inches in length, and the yellowish to brownish in color. And you can see here in the photograph, it is very clearly observed, and the larva is there, the adult is there, and the pupa which affect the crop is very important, and the damage you can report the damage. The larva basically feeds on the corn kernels, or you can say the cob of the corn, and typically it basically the tip portion it feeds on there, and the year after that this larva that penetrate are bored into the ears also, and that creating the tunnels over there, and the formation of the cavities over there, and the silk feeding is also done by this insect, and the larva that can feed the corn silk, which can interface with the pollination, that leading to the poor kernel set, and that's why the setting of the grains is very reduced. That's why the overall ear head is damaged, and secondary damage by the fungal infection, as I told you, with the help of fungus that created by the feeding larva, injury through the injury, the tunnels, the pathogens like fungi, bacteria that can enters, like fusarium, which is can lead to the ear rot or mycotoxin contamination or the infected portion, and the marketability issue means the market value of this infected cob is very reduced, and the overall yield reduction by the infected cob is very less, and the price is also less, and the market value is very low. That's why the farmers or growers get the more economical loss over there. And you can manage this type of insect in your main field. That is a very important. You can manage by means of biological activity, cultural activity, or you can use the chemical control measures also there. First is the regular monitoring of the maize field is very important to know the corn population, जो ear corn worm population, and the cultural practices. First, crop rotation, rotate the crop with the non-host crop that disturb the life cycle of the corn earworm, and that reduce the pest buildup also, and the summer tillage deploying is recommended, and planting time, you can adjust the planting time to avoid the peak moth activity. When the peak moth activity is more high in your area, you can adjust the time of planting also. And resistant varieties is also available in the market. You can select, or you can prefer the resistant or somehow tolerant varieties also there. And biologically you can control by applying of the natural enemy that can like natural predators and parasitoids such as trichoderma wasp, which attack the corn earworm eggs and larva also. And some biopesticide is also available in the market that can be used by you, and you can apply the insecticide also to minimize the pathogens insect load in your infected area. And the dear learners, the next insect is stalk borer of the maize. Dear learners, stalk borer is also another important of the maize crop basically, and it can significantly pest that affecting the corn and various other crop also. It is a native of the basically the American country, basically North America. This pest is particularly problematic in so many area of the world, and this you can identify this this insect like it looks for a holes for the basically it creates the holes on the leaves, and that can perfect the formation of the it can shotgun damage also. And the caterpillars primarily feed within the stalk of the maize plant, and that can create the tunnels like tunnel formation on the stalk also, or sometimes cob also. And the dead heart symptoms is also seen over there, and that's why the deformed or stunted growth of the plant, and sometimes overall wilting and weathering of the plants you can observe. And nature of the damage, the leaves bore into the maize stalk, that creating the tunnels that weaken and that can disturb the narrowing of the flow. And the basically the damage also provide the entry points for the pathogens that causing the secondary infection. That's why the nature of the damage is more high once the pathogen is also creating the damage over the whole crop, and the second they can provide the secondary is infection for the other fungal and bacterial infection. That's why the more infection of that. You can see here the damage of the crop, how the insect is creating the tunnels in the stems, and that can boring the overall stem, and by feeding behavior. And stalk borer management you can manage with the help of crop rotation, with the help of non-host crop to disturb the life cycle of the stalk borer. Planting the crops like legumes or some grasses that can help to break the pest life cycle also. The timely planting, or you can adjust the planting time at the peak egg laying period of the stalk borer. And the early planting of the crop is often more resistance to the pest attack, and some resistant varieties also available as per your requirement. And you can trap the insect vectors by using the traps, and you can minimize the pathogens in insect vectors load. And the biologically you can control the pathogen insect vector by using the natural predators and parasitides also. And cultural practices is also important, like keep the field free from weeds and other infected plant debris also. And plowing of the field is deeply before the planting, that can also helps to expose to kill the overwintering of the larvae. And regular monitoring is also required to minimize the insect vectors load. And you can chemically also control the insect vectors. And now about the corn leaf aphid. Dear learners, corn leaf aphid is another important insect disease for the maize crop. And the corn leaf aphid is a significant pest affecting that can lead to the another cereal crop worldwide. These small short bodies of insect are typically dark green to bluish green in color, and you can easily identify these aphids in your field. And basically it is more important to excrete the sticky substances also, that is honeydew like substances they can produce. Because of that they can they can reduce the photosynthesis, and further additionally the corn leaves aphids are vectors are also various plant viruses which is responsible to transmit by these vectors also. And economically this disease is also important, which cause the significant loss to the farmers or growers. And you can identify this aphids easily because it is typically dark in grayish or bluish, sometimes bluish in color, and key features include the long antennae and short legs is also there, and you can identify is easily, and they are usually found in the colony and on the underside of the leaves and tissues and whole of the corn plant. And management, dear learners, monitoring is also important because if you identify the early stage, you can manage this disease, this pathogen easily. And biological control is also there. You can use the lady beetles, or you can use some other parasitic wasps also to control this insect. And this is all about the management, and this is all about the today's session. Dear learners, hope this session has been very informative to you. Thank you very much for your precious learning and presence. Thank you.